Peace and love, everybody. It's Anna Renee, and I am your love power goddess, your sacred word priestess, and your doula of divine transformation. Here I am once again. Today it is Friday, April 11th, 2025. And my people, I hope you are all doing very well. The energies are off the charts at this point, and so I sure hope that you are navigating very well. I have been battling the serpentine fire, and surely as life begun, I will, as one, battle with the serpentine fire. That's what what was his name? Maurice White. Yeah, he has said to us in his song Serpentine Fire. And Maurice White is the leader of Earth, Wind, and Fire. And forever I will always love Earth, Wind, and Fire because they sang the song. They sang the love songs. And they sang the esoteric songs. They sang the spiritual songs. They sang all the good songs. And they were a badass band, you know. The lyrics were off the chain. Well, that's because Maurice White was a Sagittarian, but I need to look at his chart to see where the other planets fall. Okay. Because I don't know that writing great lyrics is a Sagittarian thing specifically. It's more a Gemini kind of thing. I would That's what I would guess. He had the ideas for the songs, but then you have to put those lyrics together. I bet you Gemini is high in his chart. I bet. I should check that right now. I should just interrupt myself as I'm about to start reading from Myrna Lofthaus's book, A Spiritual Approach to Astrology, and I'm about to go in to Aries, the first quadrant. Okay. I'm about to do all of that, but first, I'm going to look up Maurice White's astrological chart right now. And my people, please excuse me. I feel exhausted for well, the reason is I woke up at like 1:30 a.m. and I did not go back to sleep until probably 4 o'clock. And that's it's not normal for me. Okay. I don't usually take that long to go back to sleep when I wake up. Waking up at 1 in the morning is normal. But yeah, I need to waking up in the morning, let me not go all over the place here. Waking up at 1 in the morning is normal, but I usually will be back asleep by 3, not 4:30 and almost 5 o'clock. So I feel exhausted. Right now I am drinking some blood orange tea with a little bit of comfrey leaf in it. A lot of the people who I look at online say that you should never, ever drink comfrey leaf. But I feel that they say that because, you got to be careful. They have already come against the natural people who deal with herbs. I don't need to say much more than that. But if you are talking about comfrey, and yes, I'm going on a second tangent, might even be a third one before I finish here. If you're talking about comfrey and how freaking wonderful it is, and how you could put it on your eye, if you do some damage to your eye, you put it on your eye, and it will heal. You can do all kinds of things. You can mush it up and make a eye pack if you hurt your eye some kind of way. burn your skin, do anything. You say that and you put the stuff on and you exalt it, but then you also say you can't drink it. But isn't it going into your system when you put it on your skin? That's the reason why it's healing. So that's some stuff right there when they tell you not to drink it. I'm drinking it. If it's going in and pulling up all the herbs and the minerals and stuff like that, and I'm mineral deficient in this world, okay, then I'm drinking herb tea. And comfrey is the herb, okay? And therefore, that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna hopefully be energized by it, okay? But I said I was gonna check Maurice White's natal chart. Maurice White, natal, his wife, who is her? Who is she? Oh my God, she passed. Oh my God. Is that their kid together? Is that their kid together? Oh my God, that little creature looked just like Maurice White. That's a baby Maurice White right there. His hairline and everything. Oh my goodness. That's some wild stuff. Yeah, she's Caucasian. They all do that. It's like they have to do it. I don't know why, but they have to. But the child is blonde. That's interesting. But that's definitely Maurice White's child right there. Let me put this closer. That is a little baby Maurice White. But anyway, okay. Let me do this again. Maurice White, because I just screwed up. Just jumped out of the mix. I gotta start over. Maurice White's natal chart. I know he was a sun sign Sagittarius. But let's see about the rest. He was born on December 19th in 1941 in Memphis, Tennessee. Look at this. Okay, saying Moon in Capricorn, ascended in Capricorn. Let me just go all the way on and see what it says. His chart is pretty. It looks like it hits everything. Okay, let's see. Moon in Capricorn, Capricorn ascendant. Show me the whole thing. Give me the details, baby. Give me the details. Okay. Okay, Mercury in Sagittarius. Usually it's like that. If your sun's in Sag, then most likely your Mercury is also in Sag. Most likely, not always. Venus in Aquarius. Usually Venus in the moon. Well, no. Venus. No, I'm not going to say that. Okay, so his Venus is in Aquarius. Mars in Aries. That Mars in Aries kind of, I keep seeing that. Mars in, is that Aries? Yeah, that's Aries. Mars in Aries. So that's some energy because that's Mars's home. Okay, Mars is in Aries. Jupiter in Gemini. I knew it. Okay. I'm always seeing people with Jupiter and Gemini. Okay. Saturn in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus, Neptune in Virgo, Pluto in Leo. and the mean node in Virgo, Chiron in Leo, and Lilith in Taurus. Yes, Jupiter in Gemini. Amazing. All right, well that's just what I was thinking. I was expecting it to be like Gemini rising or something like that, but Jupiter is expansion, right? And it in Gemini, well, it's almost as good as if it was a rising sign, right? Jupiter expands. And I think Jupiter is in Gemini right now, I think. Uh, Let me start 10 minutes later. Okay, Aries, Mars, first house or the ascendant. Okay. Taurus, Venus, second house. Gemini, Mercury, third house. What am I saying that? Oh, that's the first quadrant. Okay. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And we're in Aries season right now. We're at the beginning of our year. All right. Started on the 21st of March, 21st, 22nd. Its glyph symbolizes ram's horns. Sometimes it is known as the fountain of youth, the fountain of life, I mean. Okay. The picture used to describe the sign is a ram. Why? The ram plows stubble with its horns in order to expose new, budding greens, which can feed its family. Thus, the ram represents a leader, one who blazes new trails. I'm going to try to do this, my people. Aries begins the spring equinox on March 21st and leaves the sign on approximately April 21st. And today is the 11th, so we only have 10 more days. We're at the end of the second decade. I wonder if there are astrologers other than Reuben Shamrani who talk about the decanates, and that's 10-day sections in the sign. Like in in the time of Aries, the first decan is like March 21st through March 31st, right? And that means something. It's ruled by some other planet. Interesting. I should get my book on Jewish approach to astrology, the Kabbalah approach to astrology. But anyway, is possibly ruled. I don't know what's ruled by. It might be ruled by Aries, but then the second decan would be from like April 1st through to the 11th, like right now today, and that will be ruled. It has a ruler. It might be the sign of Cancer. I mean, it might be the moon or something like that. And then the third decan, because decan means 10, and there's 3 10-day sections in any month, right? Generally speaking. So the third decan is going to be from like April 12th all the way through to the 22nd or whenever the last day of Aries is, like that. And that will have its own ruler, not necessarily the ram is going to rule that decan. And that's what gives certain, depending on where in the month you were born, you will have certain kind of energies. Like I'm subscribed. I'm trying so hard to not be stuttering the way I have been. It's just the energy is up like that right now for me. Let's see. I was about to say something that slipped my mind just that fast. Just that fast. It had to do with the decadent side. Oh yeah, I have been online and I'm subscribed. I guess I subscribed to this Sagittarius whatever kind of thing, and it's always coming up in my what is that place called? not YouTube, but the other thing that I'm IG. And this is always coming up talking about the energy of Sagittarius. They're always saying Sagittarius, this, that, and the other kind of negative stuff. They might be talking about the first decade as opposed to the second decade. And then there's also that they're always comparing November Sagittarians to December Sagittarians. And they make it seem as though November Sagittarians are weak compared to December Sagittarians. So that decan thing does matter because November is the first decanet of Sagittarius from like November 21st to or November 22nd to November 30th or December 1st or something like that. And that has its ruler and stuff. I'm going to get it. Hold on, my people. First, let me see if I can swap it. It's over there somewhere. I don't see it. I don't see it presently. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Ugh. For example, this book is so old. The pages are turning brown. Just how doggone old this book is. If I could get another copy of this book, I certainly would. Because this thing is your 12 ageless keys to star power. Okay, here it is. Okay, this is the start right here. Aries, the Ram, March 21st to April 20th. Ruling intelligence of the sign is Benjamin. Remember, this Kabbalah is connected with the Bible, okay? And so there's the 12 tribes of Judah and, Benjamin and all the names of the whatever those people were. And that is achievement and generosity. The planetary ruler, Mars, which is governed by the Sephira Madamiel, which is vehemence, zeal, driving energy with ever-present possibility of excess. Great constructive dynamism may go to extremes and become destructive force. The Kabbalistic number is 5. The specific qualities endowed or particularly emphasized by each of the signs' decanates are as follows. The March 21st to 30th decanate includes integrity, pride, stubbornness. The March 31st to April 9th includes leadership, breadth of mind, and the last decanate, April 10th to the 20th, includes facile intellect, desire for comfort and luxury. Is that right? Comfort and luxury, that sounds Taurian. So maybe that decanate is ruled by Venus. It should be in here. Okay, in Hebrew astrology, Aries is, I ought to reread this book. Well, I already read it on my other channel. Aries is one of the 3 signs comprising the fiery trigon. The other 2 signs, of course, are Leo, which is somewhat more, and Sagittarius, which is somewhat less favorably endowed than Aries. Thus, you natives of this first zodiacal sign stand midway. Now that's interesting. Yet the Kabbalah holds that in some respects, you are at the peak of the trigon. Okay. Is it or is it not? Is it is or is it ain't? Aries is the sign of the vernal equinox. Okay, that's spring. Vernal means spring. Symbol of the beginning of new hope, of youthful energy, zeal, and enterprise. It has great vitality, but not the maturity and seasoned strength of Leo. On the other hand, it is not troubled by the conflicts and dichotomies which so often beset Sagittarian nature. Conflicts and dichotomies. See, that's what I don't like about Reuven Shamrani. Okay, you Aries natives excel as pioneers, innovators. He plays both sides of the thing here. Innovators, but there is likely to be a youthful ardor and immature rashness in your personality. Okay, but I wanted to know what ruled the decadence. Where did I see that? It had to have been in this book. The author's note. See, this guy, Hebrew astrology is infinitely more accurate, reliable, incisive, and above all, practical than the current popular and popularized variety. He talked about that endlessly. Hebrew astrology is just way better than everything else. And I tend to believe him. But anyway, let me get back to the other book that I'm reading. I like what he said about Pisces, though. I like what he said about Pisces. He went in for Pisces because from the way he was saying it, a lot of people, a lot of astrologers were dogging out Pisces. Hmm. Anyway, let me get back to Myrna's book. Myrna, however you pronounce her name. Anyway, there's the decadence. Some people talk about it, some don't, most don't. Okay, the planetary ruler, of course, is Mars. In the natural zodiac, it rules the first house, 21 minutes. It is masculine, positive, and a fire sign. The element fire can be described as enthusiastic and inspirational. Its quality is cardinal, meaning action initiating and ambitious. This can be combined to describe Aries as actively inspired. The parts of the body that are ruled by this sign are the head, face, except the nose, and brains. I have a headache as of right this minute. My head feels big right now. That reminds me of Erica Badu. My eyes are green because I eat a lot of vegetables. No, Queen, it's because you're jealous of somebody, okay, who took your man from you. All right? And that's why you got him back. And things of that nature. Anyway, I do have a headache, and it's part of the reason why I didn't want to come on. But then I made a video earlier, and I hate the video that I made. It's just, ugh, it's not where I'm going. That might have been a brain dump. And, that might be necessary. But anyway, some of the things that Aries rules are adrenaline, hats, fire, sharp instruments, and surgical operations. 5 positive keywords are inspirational, courageous, enthusiastic, original, and independent. 5 negative keywords are impatient. That's been a problem that I've been having in this season. My impatience is just off the charts. I feel it just getting more and more and more. I have to go down, I gotta knock it back down. I can't even sit and read a book, it's taking too long. And these people, you say one thing in your book and I don't like it, I'm ready to throw the whole book away. That kind of stuff. And I've thrown away numbers of books. I haven't quite come to the place of regretting it. Maybe 1 or 2 books I regret, but it's too late. I already threw them out. Impatient, aggressive, headstrong, selfish, and impulsive. Aries people enjoy any work requiring enterprise and initiative, such as medicine, surgeons, dentists, athletes, steel workers, military, politics, salesmen, TV. The key phrase is I am. The key word is action. Their basic nature is the pioneer or warrior. The opposite sign of the zodiac is Libra. Aries is the point of all beginning. The person with his sun in Aries is in the process of building a new personality. All the energies are self centered and self directed. And that might be true for everybody, whether you're an Aries or not, because we're in Aries season. Okay, and then we also have Pisces in air in how do you say that? Pisces is now in Mars is in Pisces. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And Mars is the planetary ruler of Aries. So Mars and Aries, and she's going to break that down in a minute, where she compares Aries to Mars to the first house. I love that stuff when she do that. Okay, I'll get to it. Let me just read through here. Before one can give oneself away, there must be something to give. The Aryan assumes authority quickly, but must resist the impulse to ram, quote unquote, ahead, pushing whoever is there out of the way. It is natural for the Aryans to assume authority and responsibility. They can be inspired forces within a group. There is a joyousness and enthusiasm about the Aryans. Thus, they are an inspiration to others. Ideas and creative projects seem to flow from them in a never ending stream. They are full of energy and never lack courage. However, they can also project the negative traits of their sun sign. Negative traits come into being when the person misuses his positive traits. Okay. Because of this, you will find Aryans who are self centered. They are apt to forget that other people may have good ideas and can assume responsibility. Okay. This makes it difficult to form a partnership with an Aries person. It is also difficult for an Aries to be an employee. Okay. Their natural instinct is to be the employer. They have a tendency to start a project, then to suddenly lose interest in it if the progress is too slow or things have become too complicated. Yeah, I feel like that a lot lately. These people have a gift for waking up an environment they find themselves in. They do not sit quietly in a corner waiting for someone to speak to them. They are not subtle or devious. If they want something, they go after it. Both sexes enjoy having a career as well as being attracted to community or political activities where they can use their talent for leadership. They like people, but they may drop out of orbit while pursuing new interests. In 6 months, in 6 months, they may be back again as if no time had elapsed. In love, they are passionate with strong sexual feelings. They are usually healthy because they move around enough to exercise their bodies. This produces good circulation. They rarely overeat. Their head is the most vulnerable spot. They are prone to headaches due to tension. They almost always end up with some type of injury to their head. You will find a number of small scars on their head from running into things or from accidents. We're in Aries times right now, so be careful of your heads, my people. Aries is a positive masculine sign. Women who are Aries have some difficulties in relationships because they are likely to be far too positive, opinionated, and masculine. They have to learn to build in their feminine side and be willing to be quiet and receptive. Okay. Fire, the element of Aries, is symbolic. I don't like the way she said that. Okay? I don't. She didn't say quiet and receptive sometimes. She just said quiet, just shut up. Aries woman, just shut up is basically what Myrna is saying here. Okay. If you want a man. As parents, wait a minute. Fire? Oh, God. Am I going to be able to do this? Let me try. Let me push. Let me push head like an Aries would. Fire, the element of Aries, is symbolic of Aries' burning desire to keep pushing onward against all obstacles. They react similar to a horse with blinders on, looking neither to the right nor the left, but straight ahead to their destination. Okay. As parents, Aryan parents tend to push their children too hard in school. Okay. Their lack of patience doesn't help either. Even so, they make good parents. Children. As children, Aryans are noisy and full of energy. They must be doing something every minute. Okay. Firm discipline is needed, but it shouldn't be too strict either. They like games and sports where they have a large amount of energy. There is a tendency to run high fevers because that's just a hot-headed Aryan kind of thing. Okay, the three things an Aryan should learn are: number one, patience; two, conservation of energy; and completion. Aryans don't be completing the thing. They started, but they don't finish. Sometimes, not all the time. Whenever you find the sign Aries in your natal chart, indicates where you as an individual need to be independent. That's the house where you will have to be the little red hen, because only then will you feel a sense of completion within yourself. The little red hen, a little nursery rhyme. I can't remember what the gist of that thing was. The gem for Aries is the diamond. Oh, is that right? Which the ancients called the gem of light. It was believed to be an eternal flame. The name diamond means invincible. In AD 100, it was called the most valuable stone known and was only permitted to be owned by kings. The flower for Aries are the daisies and anemones. Their metal is iron, and their colors are bright red, gold, and deep blue. Okay. Mars. All right, let me take a sip of this tea. This planet rules the sign Aries. I'm going to have to take this shirt off because I'm boiling over here. Or I can just keep it on and do this. It just got super hot all of a sudden. I don't even know why. Its natural house is the first house. Its orbit takes 2 years. One complete revolution on its axis takes 24 and a half hours. Is that right? Okay. It is masculine and positive. This glyph symbolizes the glyph of Aries, symbolizes spirit held down by matter. And we know it's that circle with the arrow pointing up from the side. 5 positive keywords describing this planet are courage, energy, activity, initiative, and originality. 5 basic keywords describing this planet are desires, energy, originality, courage, and endurance. 5 negative keywords describing this planet are arrogant, aggressive, headstrong, selfish, impulsive. Okay. You gotta watch out for that, my people, my Aries people. The basic personality function of this planet is to prod man to action. The parts of the body it rules are red blood cells, iron in the blood, muscular energy, and adrenaline glands. Some of the things ruled by this planet are weapons, sharp instruments, the color red, Tuesday, heat, wounds, and iron. Oh, maybe my red. I got too much red in this house right about now. Now that Pisces is in Mars is in Pisces right now, or Pisces is in Mars, or however you say it. I might need to roll up this red carpet and put it somewhere for now because it's overwhelming me. Where was I? Okay. The people represented by this planet are men. Some of the similarities between this planet and the sign it rules are that both show activity and energy. They differ because Mars is the desire to reach outwardly for experiences and things, while Aries is the soul's internal desire for the development of a new personality. Mars retrograde indicates that the energy is directed within, with the reliving of experiences inwardly and the rethinking of motivations. Mars, the red planet, whose colors suggest blood, is the planet of war. Some say the symbol used for Mars represents a shield and a spear. Hmm, okay. And that the two tiny satellites, Phobos, fear, and Deimos, terror, were named for the war god's attendants. So Mars has a couple of little tiny satellites. Okay, I didn't know that. All right. Phobos and Deimos, fear and terror. The diameter of Mars is 4,000 miles, 4,200 miles, half that of Earth. It experiences 4 seasons in its orbit around the sun. This orbit takes approximately 2 Earth years. A complete revolution on its axis takes 24 and a half hours. Interesting. Craters dominate the landscape. These craters appear as though the rims have been sandpapered off. The bottoms are very flat. Swirling dust storms come and go. The winds occasionally reach 100 miles an hour and can quickly fill in a crater. We can see the correlation of an Aries temper in the coming and going of the dust storms. I love it when she does this. She's a beast when it comes to these kind of correlations. Okay. Then too, many in Aries has been known to talk their way out of a difficult spot or hole. Thus, a crater has been filled. Sometimes the winds blow hot air and sometimes cold air. This illustrates the Aries approach to projects. He can blow hot and then blow cold. This is also representative of their energy level, up and down. Okay. Surface temperatures at noon on the equator are comparable to Earth on a spring day. Oh, is that right? At midday, the temperature reaches around 80 degrees Fahrenheit, but at night it drops to 150 below zero. This is on Mars. Okay. There are polar ice caps, which are made up of frozen carbon dioxide, or what we know of as dry ice. I remember when we were kids, once in a blue moon, one of us kids would get our hands on some dry ice. That's some weird stuff. I don't hear people ever talking about dry ice, but it's frozen carbon dioxide. Okay. As the ice caps warm up in the spring, they do not melt but evaporate. When an Aries gets bored with a project, he puts it in cold storage where it eventually evaporates as if it never existed. Okay. The Martian atmosphere reaches a height of only 60. When she says Martian, then you start thinking of all those crazy movies where we were told that Martians were landing on Earth and all that kind of shit. Those old movies of the 1960s. Anyway, Martians. Okay. My favorite Martian was a sitcom comedy show back in the 60s. The Martian atmosphere reaches a height of only 60 miles above the surface and is composed mostly of carbon dioxide with no detectable oxygen. It is extremely thin, measuring less than 1% of the density and pressure of Earth's atmosphere. You would have to climb 20 miles above the Earth to find air so thin. Hmm. Carbon dioxide is a gas which escapes from cracks in the surface and is a product of combustion, decay, fermentation, and in the case of Earth, breathing. We use carbonation in soft drinks and other beverages in order to have a bubbly drink. Yeah. Uh oh. Can you guys hear those folks out there? I'm going to continue. These bubbles gently rise to the surface and explode. So too is adrenaline released into the body, causing an explosion of energy. However, in order to make a superior wine, the correct amount of fermentation is needed. An Aries individual has to learn not to release too much energy into his body, or his nervous system will begin to decay. There are no mountain ranges or bodies of water on Mars. It appears to be much drier than Earth's most arid deserts. However, some scientists believe, excuse me, that there is a layer of permafrost a few feet below the surface. This lack of water illustrates how difficult it is for an Aries person to understand how others feel. Water represents feelings, but the ability to be compassionate and understanding can be developed. She had better said that. Okay. Where was it? As water is just below the surface and needs only to be tapped. Okay. Even though there are highlands and lowlands, the elevation is only 8 miles at the most from the bottom to the top. These changes in elevation are gradual and the slopes are gentle. The sun casts only half as much solar energy on Mars as it does on Earth. There is absolutely no protection from the sun's radiations, especially ultraviolet rays, which can quickly kill any unprotected Earth life. Aryans must take care not to burn themselves out. They would do well to remember to conserve their energy, or their physical body will suffer the consequences. That's fabulous information. That's a fabulous breakdown. It keeps working like that. It makes you feel like really Mars really does represent Aries like that, for real, for real, for real, for real, for real. Mars' dark regions are supposed to represent pitted terrain, which does not properly reflect light rays. Aryans also can fail to analyze or reflect as to where their actions and words will lead them. Mars has two satellites or moons. Number two in numerology means the peacemaker, one who has tact, sensitivity, modesty, consideration, and is cooperative. These satellites are attempting to develop these positive attributes with Mars characteristics. Phobos is shaped like a baked potato and is 11 by 14 miles in size. Well, it's wow, really? It's 11 by 14. It is less than, it's amazing that they can even spot something that tiny, you know? Huh. It is less than 4,000 miles away from Mars. Deimos is smaller and it's only 5 miles in length. Tiny little things. Mars then denotes a drive to display energy. It is a positive, outgoing, outthrusting energy, masculine in expression. It is fire. Without the fire of life and an enthusiasm and passion for living, there is no vitality. Mars is desire. If you have no desire, you won't reach out for anything. Desires can be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. If you want to learn to drive a car, you will find the energy necessary to learn to drive. If you want a new record album, you will use your energy working for the amount of money needed to purchase it. If you desire knowledge about Buddhism, you will command your legs to take you to the library where you will spend energy reading about Buddhism. Thus, our desires activate our adrenal glands, providing us with the necessary energetic action to meet our requirements. In emergencies, people have been known to lift seemingly impossible weights. One woman single handedly rescued her brand new refrigerator when her home caught fire. Her desire to save her long awaited refrigerator activated her adrenal glands, giving her the strength of two men. I thought they, I thought they were about to say she lifted a car off of somebody who pinned on their car. No, it was her refrigerator. Oh my goodness. One woman single handedly rescued her brand new refrigerator when her home caught fire. Her desire to save her long awaited refrigerator activated her adrenal glands, giving her the strength of two men. Another man ripped off a truck cab door in order to save another man's life. I have commentary, but I'm going to keep to myself because it's petty. Since Mars is reddish hued, the colors red and orange have always been associated with passion and energy. If you are feeling tired, and I am, try wearing something red or orange that day. Okay, I do. I have a red cup right here I'm drinking from. I'm still tired. I'm drinking red colored tea, and I'm still tired. What's the deal with that, Miss Loftus? Okay, talk to me about it. Let's see. Try wearing something red or orange that day. It is surprising how you will receive an energy lift to help carry you through the day. I agree with her. We symbolize Mars by drawing a circle with an arrow. This is meant to symbolize the spirit of man, which is the circle, held down by our desires for earth, living, which is the arrow. However, this arrow can be used to lift the spirit of man above his animal self. For example, we are in our animal self when we are waging war with others, okay? But we have elevated it when we use this, and that is our spirits. When we use, let's see, this energy in sports for the pleasure of participating, or we are in our animal self when we deliberately set out to perform destructive acts, such as setting a fire. But we have elevated it when we use this energy to help put out a fire or to rescue someone from a fire. All of us must learn to use our desires and energies to gain valuable experiences. These experiences will ultimately teach us to use our energies constructively. It is the use or misuse of this Martian energy that makes one man a saint and another man a devil. Okay? Wherever Mars is located in the natal chart is where energy and initiative is channeled. Mars stimulates a desire to expand the individuality through physical, emotional, mental, and or spiritual activity in the house affairs. So, Mars in the signs. Mars in Aries increases physical and mental activities, impulsive and enthusiastic, lacks patience, self-control, and sympathetic understanding, prone to accidents because of haste. Mars in Taurus, persistent and patient, but also possessive, stubborn, and jealous. Stimulates craftsmanship, money and possessions important are important. Should rethink their values. Rethink. Whew. Sharing must be cultivated. Mars and Gemini. Whenever I hear Mars and Gemini, I think of brother Tahuti Ma'at, who used to be the man on YouTube back in like 10 years ago. Back in the day, he was crazy funny and very Mars and Gemini-ish. He was a Taurus with Mars and Gemini, and he used to brag about that all the time, baby. And he had a photographic memory too. He remember scores, basketball scores from games that happened 10 years previously and stuff like that. And he was remembering that stuff. Okay. Like when this team and that team played, okay, this was the score back in whatever date, 20 years previously and stuff like that. I'm like, I can't even remember my name sometimes. How in the world? Anyway, Mars in Gemini is witty, and he was keen mind, yes, he was, but a tendency to sarcasm, yes, he was sarcastic. Nervous energy that quickly disappears, must learn to conserve energy, or nervous system will cause difficulties. Restless, find it difficult to complete projects or to keep promises. Powers of concentration must be developed. Possibility of writing talent. And our brother Tahuti Ma'at did have a post where, a place somewhere where he was posting and writing about the stuff he did, which was about health and herbs and stuff like that, and different things different herbs did to help people. That's what he was into. He was an herbalist to the hood. We used to love Tahuti Ma'at Ra. Okay, so Mars in Cancer. That's me. I have Mars in Cancer. What does it mean? Ambitious, hard worker, sympathetic, moody, defensive, original, intuitive, sensitive, and over emotional. Difficulties with digestion due to emotions. Too much acidity in the stomach. Should not eat when tired or upset, as digestion affected by emotions. I've been noticing my digestion lately. Usually I have an iron stomach. I can eat whatever I want. But lately, man, just thinking about a certain food, my stomach will do a couple of backflips. And as for being moody, defensive, original, well, yeah, original, intuitive, I am tired, I guess. Okay, Mars and Leo, impulsive, lots of energy, enthusiastic, ambitious, artistically creative, can be quarrelsome and jealous, can have heart trouble if overdoes physically when not in condition, should discipline energy and passion. Mars in Virgo, a warrior, fusses over little things, energetic worker, practical, diplomat, kind, even tempered as a rule, often ambitious, but find it hard to accept a lot of responsibility. Too much responsibility causes stomach or skin troubles. Hmm. Mars in Libra, persuasive, perceptive, enthusiastic, easygoing, can be argumentative. Intuitive mind, fluctuation of energy. Diplomacy and patience need to be cultivated. Mars in Scorpio. Well, that's the rulership. Back in the old days, in fact, in the Kabbalah astrology book I have will tell you that Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. Okay. Anyway, perceptive, determined, strong willed, stubborn, magnetic, deep emotions, must learn self discipline or desires will rule their life. Okay, Mars in Sagittarius. Friendly, optimistic, impulsive, enthusiastic, independent, argumentative, active traveler. Energies need to be used in physical outlets. Tendency to exaggerate if Mars is afflicted. Mars in Capricorn, ambitious, persistent, patient, self reliant, responsible, slow in learning, but total assimilation of knowledge. Energy is carefully used. I sort of feel like that's me a little bit. I feel like that because Capricorn is high in my chart, and I do be taking forever to learn this stuff. It's hard for me to retain stuff that I'm not interested in retaining, I guess. I don't know. Mars in Aquarius, intellectual, cautious, independent, enterprising, respond well to emergencies, gain friends through merit and ability. And Mars in Pisces, intuitive, humorous, diplomatic, quiet on the outside but restless within. Hmm. Not physically strong and can appear to be lazy. Alcohol and drugs can become crutches. Good position for musicians. Really? If afflicted, indecision and self gratification are strong. Okay, so Mars in the houses now. That is quite interesting. Okay. The sisters are downstairs having a ball. Sounds like it. Mars in the first house. I don't know if you guys can hear the ladies down there. I think I have the window open just a crack. But there's always a lot of activity in this building, in this area. Period. Mars in the first house. A lot of physical activity due to energy vibrations in the physical body. Are assertive, independent, impulsive, and impatient. Organizing ability is strong because Mars in the first house, they coincide, right? Are usually self-confident. They should guard against accidents due to rushing around and their impulsiveness. Mars in the second house, efficient. Money comes and goes in order to de-emphasize the importance of money and to focus energy into the development of talents instead. All right. Mars in the third, alert, determined, enthusiastic with an abundance of mental energy. Analytical thinking is important as impulsive thinking will bring difficulties. Can be problems with brothers or sisters. Probability of quarrels and irritations in early home irrigation. Maybe it's time for me to get out into the gardens. Irrigations. Oh man, I do sort of miss planting and stuff like that. I do miss it. Okay. Anyway, irritations in early home environment, which makes the person nervous and high strung. Many short journeys. Oh, excuse me. Mars in the fourth house. Strong constitution. early striving for independence, desire for security, and a home of their own. There is tension in the soul, which is reflected in their adult home environment. These persons must overcome their hidden antagonisms and quarrelsomeness. Strong emotions must be toned down. Mars in the fifth, desire to be creative, can be gamblers, sports loving, enterprising, leadership ability, a loyal companion, may be karmic difficulties with their children due to soul's unlovingness in previous lifetimes. Mars in the sixth, industrious, efficient, dynamic, and active in work. Tendency to irritation and impatience with coworkers and employees who lack these qualities. Okay. Mechanically minded, good vitality, run fevers when ill. Mars in the seventh, independent. If Mars is well aspected, the marriage partner is usually someone who is capable, industrious, who works to promote the welfare of the family, and who runs the household, but in a kindly manner. If adversely aspected, there is the likelihood of marital strife. This is a karmic placement. Mars in the seventh house is a karmic placement. And the individual with Mars in this house must cultivate gentleness and diplomacy. I have Aries in the sixth house, in the seventh house. I have Aries in the sixth and the seventh house. Let me see something. Mars is in Cancer in my chart. And so, where's Cancer? What house is that? I have a really weird house placement. I can't see Cancer or Capricorn in the house. It must be there's a word when it's I don't know how you call that, but it's taken over. There's no let me not try to describe it. But looking at this written down, I have Aries in the sixth and seventh house, and then I have Libra in the first and the 12th house. And that interferes somehow. Astrology is something else, I tell you. If you're going to learn it, then you better sit down and learn it, okay? But anyway, Mars in the eighth house, enthusiasm for research and getting to the heart of things. If afflicted, financial problems in order to de emphasize the importance of money. If unafflicted, financial benefit through marriage, partner, legacy, or partnerships. There is a need to share willingly of personal resources in any cooperative relationship. Mars in the ninth house, enthusiastic but restless mind, independent in thought. Religious zeal must be watched so that it doesn't turn into fanaticism. Strong desire to travel, liberal, broad, and progressive philosophy about life. Possibility of strife with in laws, if afflicted, will fight for their convictions. Okay. Mars in the 10th, ambitious, enthusiastic nature with lots of energy, good executive ability, success through own enterprise. Do best in an occupation with variety. Self-reliance, strong, practical person. There is a karma of gossip and maligning others in previous lifetimes, which can or will be reaped in this lifetime. If afflicted some difficulty with father. Mars in the 10th. Really? Gossip? Yeah. Mars in the 11th. Strong desires and wishes. Social leaderships. Many casual associations. Energetic and enterprising friends. Important to seek right type of friendships. Need to learn caution and integrity. Need to learn to say no, for they can be taken advantage of by friends. Mars in the 11th. Or they can take advantage of their friends. Okay. And Mars in the 12th house. Impulsive, intense emotional reactions, repressed desires. There is a need to overcome inner resentments, false accusations by hidden enemies, a karmic relationship, feels an aloneness. Energy should be directed toward gaining an understanding of the meaning of life and for the development of harmony and oneness with humanity. Okay, my people. So now, first house or ascendant. Okay, this is an angular house indicating activity. It is considered an angular house because it corresponds to the cardinal signs. The natural ruler of this house is Aries. What is the relationship between the sign and the house? Excuse me. Aries needs to gain a sense of identity, excuse me, through proving himself or by starting something new. And the first house is the new beginning of the individual. The natural ruling planet is Mars. What is the relationship between the planet and the house? Mars represents your desires and aspirations, which stimulate activity. And the first house is the manner in which you actively approach life. If the sun were in this house, it would be approximately 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. This is a house of life. Oh, so 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. is going to be the 12th house. I was born at 2 a.m., 2:35 a.m. So that was the 12th house. Okay. Those little tweaks right there help you to understand some things. But my ascendant is in Libra, but most of the Libra is in the 12th house. Anyway, I'm talking, but I don't really know what I'm talking about, really. I'm just mashing this stuff together in my head, trying to make it work. But anyway, this is a house of life, which corresponds to the fire signs. This means it is a house of enthusiasm and energy towards personal views of life. This house rules number one, self awareness, physical body, how we look, and three, personality, how we wish to appear to other people. This house is found in the first quadrant below the horizon. Number one, self awareness, approach to life. The first house represents a new beginning for the soul. The sign on the cusp indicates the traits or qualities the soul desires to use in order to develop a new personality. This sign also indicates the manner in which the individuals will react to the experiences they encounter in life. These experiences will force the ego to reevaluate their thinking patterns, their emotional responses, and their view of life. From this, self awareness is born. Okay. Number two, physical body, how we look. The type of physical body desired by the soul for this lifetime is indicated by this house. The planets in the house will reveal the health problems that have been selected for needed lessons and karmic fulfillment. It is possible to determine the zodiac sign on the ascendant by the body build and facial features. For example, a man with an Aries ascendant or an Aries sun sign will invariably have a prominent Adam's apple. Okay, okay, Myrna. Could be true. I don't even know. It's worth trying to test it. See, line up all the Aries, okay, and see if they Aries men. See if they have Adam's apples. If they all have. But anyway, number three, personality. How we wish to appear to other people. This is the house that rules the personality. It shows the manner in which we allow others to see us. It is the thoughts, actions, and emotions that we are willing to reveal to others. This personality has very little depth because the ego is afraid to reveal its innermost thoughts or emotions for fear of being rejected. When emotionally upset, okay, yes, I'm going to say it. The ego is not the part of the spirit that would be on the deep level like that. The ego's not in control of the depths, your emotional depths, okay? The ego, it can only do what it needs to do. It doesn't need to change so that it can do the better things. It needs to be overrun, okay? You need to develop the other aspect that will then hold ego in check, okay? And that's the way Nefer Amen breaks it down. And that other aspect is going to be Herukuti. Okay. All right. And Sebek has got to be held down. Okay. Which is the ego aspect. I need to start studying that again, maybe. That's the best breakdown of the spirit that I have ever read. Anyway, I love astrology as well. Okay. But different astrologers see it differently. They look at it and they interpret it different ways, and I like that as well. You know, at least dealing with what she has written, I can interact with it. I can say I agree or disagree with it, as opposed to paying attention to AI and AI is going to break down some basic stuff that you can't really argue with. It's very basic. Okay, it's the basic first level understanding of astrology. That's what AI is going to give you. But an astrologer who puts some thought and some spirit into it is going to give you more based on what they have looked at, what they have processed within their own spirits, based on their own lives and what they have studied. And they're going to come with, interpretations, intuitions, and stuff like that, which is way more interesting. Okay, than what the AI is going to basically give you. Yeah, Aries is aggressive. Aries is, the first, the basic stuff, which is what you get these days with your AI. Okay. Anyway, that's why I like reading her. I don't have to agree with her to hold what she's saying in the highest esteem. I like the fact that she brought it to this level. She talking about karma and past lives. I don't know that I really agree with that part, but if I did, I probably would agree with what she's saying about it. And I like that. Okay. All right, the traits of the natal. Let's see where. Okay. This is the house that rules the personality. It shows the manner in which we allow others to see us. It is the thoughts, actions, emotions that we are willing to reveal to others. This personality has very little depth because the ego is afraid to reveal its innermost thoughts or emotions for fear of being rejected. When emotionally upset, the ego is unable to maintain this social personality and falls back into the character traits of its natal sun sign. If the shock or hurt received by the eagle is great, the natal sun sign will be bypassed, and the eagle will return to the personality it has become over many lifetimes as represented by the natal moon sign. The traits of the natal moon sign are so familiar to the ego that it has a feeling of returning home. Ideally, the ego should work on blending the positive character traits of all three of these zodiac signs. The natal sun sign and the ascendant sign were specifically selected to transform the negative characteristics of the natal moon sign that are still present in the personality. Okay, that's interesting. The natal sun and the ascendant are specifically selected to transform the negative natal moon sign. All right. All right. So, my people, there it is. That is Myrna Loftus, and it is a spiritual approach to astrology. That's the first sign, Aries. I said I was going back to the beginning. So, I'm going to go all the way through in order, except when I get to Sagittarius and when I get to Pisces. So, I'll be going all the way through and Leo. So, I'm going to be the next one is going to be what comes after Aries: Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Virgo. Okay, I'm going to skip Leo because I already did it. Virgo. Okay, Libra, Scorpio, Capricorn, Aquarius, and then I'll be done. Because I already did Sagittarius, I already did Pisces. All right, my people, peace and blessings to each and every one of you all. See, I went through this. I got through it. 1 hour, 16 minutes later, I have made it through. Throat tight, head hurting, hungry, irritable, and all kinds of things like that. But still, it's all good. I'm good. Peace.